Hello and welcome to another episode of Breaking Through in Cybersecurity Marketing. I'm one of your hosts, Gianna Whitford, here with my here with my beautiful co-host,
Maria Velasquez.
No splendiferous for you today, Maria.
That's okay. I'll take beautiful.
And we have an amazing guest. We have Al Lakhani, CEO and founder of IDEE. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Al.
Happy to be here. And by the way, I'm also beautiful. Thank you.
That's right. Now our listeners on audio only will have to go and check out the beautifulness on LinkedIn when we share the video.
Exactly. So anyone who's listening, a couple of quick comments. One, if you want to see the beauty, the pure, unadulterated beauty of us three on your screen, make sure to check out our YouTube and check out our LinkedIn, where we're starting to publish the episodes, video versions also on LinkedIn. And then secondly, come on out to Cyber Marketing Con, where we're going to have the best looking and smartest audience in the world. We are going to have a conference just for marketers in cybersecurity. So come on down and join 400 to 500 to 600 of your friends, your peers, your future bosses, your future direct reports, and learn and share all about marketing in cybersecurity. And we will have a CEO track for those who are also CEOs interested in go-to-market. Well, Al, thank you for listening to our commercial with us.
I'm signing up right away.
Oh, good. Before we jump in, give us your elevator pitch for IDEE.
It's actually very simple. We prevent account takeover. So we make sure that your identity cannot be stolen, period.
Okay. Can you give us your what's after the elevator pitch? The over the road trucking pitch?
What problem we're solving.
Mm-hmm.
So every day, tons of businesses get compromised. And this includes the Microsofts of the world, the NVIDIAs of the world, everybody, right?
Yeah.
And how do they get compromised? They get compromised because somebody steals your credentials. So if I steal your credentials, Gianna, I can be you. And what we make sure is that it is not possible for an attacker to steal your credentials. We tie your identity to the device, which means if somebody wants to steal your identity, Gianna, they would have to fly to Delaware, go to your house, steal your device, know how to unlock it, and do all of this before you realize it's gone and you deactivate it. So we have made hackers that are very lazy, which is almost all of them, not able to steal your identity.
Wow.
Ooh, we're starting wars here on this podcast today.
I love it. I love tying the identity to the device because, like you said, without the device, you can't do anything. Without the identity, you can't do anything. It's like a lock and a key, or two keys and a lock, or two birds in one hand, zero in the bush or something, one of these analogies. So we wanted you to come on the episode, Al, to talk about failure, which is like one of the most fun things to talk about. Because tell us, you've been doing this for a while now. What are some of the things that you've tried as a CEO and as a leader at IDEE that have not worked?
Well, like I said, I told you earlier, I have a PhD in failure. I started IDEE 9 years ago. And the first 6 years were lots of failures. So that's why I say I have a PhD in failure, because it takes about 5-6 years to get a PhD. When the idea about IDEE started with preventing account takeover. So I used to do cyber crime and financial fraud investigations for about 18 years of my life. And then I said, well, how do we solve this? How do we make sure that this doesn't happen again? So I started IDEE. And being naive, I thought, well, everybody would want this. So I started with a B2C solution. And we built some prototypes, went to Apple, went to Google, went to Fitbit, went to Samsung, and they said, yeah, this is really cute, but you're focused on health. So, ciao. So that was the first hit, first punch in the gut. So then I said, okay, B2C doesn't work. So why don't we try B2B2C? So we started focusing on digital identity. And we said, again, would it be great to promote account takeover? So we had some amazing pilots, BMW, Metro, which is like the Costco of Europe. We had, Target in the US. We had MediaMarkt Saturn. So we are all high-fiving. And guess what? COVID hits, and all of these businesses are saying, do you have something that can help us with supply chain?
Ooh.
You remember what happened with COVID. There was whole disruption of supply chain. So they said, yeah, we're not going to really change the journey of all these customers that are going online now, that are not coming to our stores. And, if they want to use passwords, it's fine. Another punch in the gut. And now I'm like, okay, what do I do next? So we said, well, let's try B2B. And guess what? That took off. So I probably would say third time's the charm. I got lucky. I don't know. You can use every other phrase that comes to your mind. This was not strategic, unfortunately. It was just me, dog with a bone, saying account takeover has to be stopped. The third time it worked.
It's also probably part of the right time, right place. I think, like you said, COVID kind of derailed your plans, and maybe because it was that time. And now that it's kind of behind us and we're trying to rebuild our lives, maybe it's just the right timing for you. And yeah, I guess B2B is a better use case, but I think timing is probably the biggest culprit.
I think you're absolutely right. Timing is everything. And I have learned that hard lesson many times in my life. And I continue to learn it. So I guess what it means is being at the right place at the right time is really about luck. And that's the one thing that, I try to help as many startup founders as I can, because I'm involved in a few organizations here in Germany and also in the UK. And I always tell them, it really has nothing to do with the best engineered product. It really has to do with being at the right place at the right time, having those USPs, and getting lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And hustling too, because I think for those of us that are lazy, I'm bringing it back. I want to start a war. Those of us that are lazy. Those of us that are lazy and just sitting around waiting for luck to knock on their door, that's not how it should be, right? You have to be out there, hustle, knock on every door, and then one of those doors will be your lucky door, right?
Yes, I think you're right. Being lazy doesn't help. But what also doesn't help is if your timing is wrong, no matter how hard you knock on how many doors, it is not going to change anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And that is obviously something that I learned twice.
So, Al, your journey, it's 9 years long, right? So you tried something, you pivoted, you tried something, you pivoted. Thankfully, the second pivot ended up being successful. But how did you persevere through this, right? This is quite a long journey as a startup founder on your startup when the first two phases of the business did not work.
Well, as I said, I'm a dog with a bone. And the first 3 years, every time Microsoft or Apple or Google released something new that was in my field, I had a sleepless night. And as time went on, what I learned was the concept of first principles. Is there a problem that exists? Does it need to be solved? And are we patching the problem, or are we really going to, critical thinking, going to the root cause and solving the root cause? Mm-hmm. And so the first 5 years of the IDEE journey, I had lots of sleepless nights. Thereafter, I guess maybe you call it maturity, school of hard knocks, whatever you want to call it, I realized that the problem, if I focus on the problem, and has it been solved by somebody else, or does it still need to be solved? That gave me a lot of comfort. And that is what made me focus on continuing this journey, no matter how hard it was. And I think that is the difference. You know, I'm a big fan of the toothbrush test.
What's that?
You have to use it every day. And everybody has to use it every day. Well, it's recommended.
Oh, man, I didn't know that.
Yes. And, well, hopefully you knew that. And you use it. I'm just teasing you, Maria. You have beautiful teeth. What I meant was, you know, I kept on looking at account takeover or breaches. And when I started IDEE, I first went to Silicon Valley. I met with some friends at Facebook. I met at that time, I guess it was called Facebook, now it's called Meta. I met with some friends at Silver Lake, Anderson Horowitz, Apple. And I was asking them, what are you guys doing? You know, there is account takeover is a problem. What are you guys doing? And what they told me is, well, we have this SMS OTP thing that we do. And I was like, well, that doesn't solve the problem. So that's how I started the company, right? Then you fast forward and you realize that more and more people consume online services. And more people have to go through so many hoops to set up a device. Like imagine you're using a credit card online. Now you receive a push on your app, your credit card app, so you can approve, so you can buy something online, right? Like you look at the fundamental problem, it's still not solved. And so if you look at that perspective, then you realize, well, this problem still exists.
Right.
And if the problem still exists, maybe it's worth solving it.
Right. It's the friction. It's the friction of having to do a one-time password through email, which I personally hate because I get too many emails every single day. A one-time password through email or through text message. We all know that's exploitable. We all saw the Uber breach, right? That was 2022, by the way, for anyone who wants to feel like their life is slipping quickly through their hands like sand. That was 2022, the Uber breach, where it was MFA fatigue that was the reason that they got breached, because it was a human who had MFA fatigue from getting so many push notifications that they're probably like, okay, fine, right, in the middle of the night or whatever, right? So I get what you're saying. Also, personally, it's annoying to have to set up all these workflows and all this like extra administrative garbage just because I want to buy a candle on a website, right? So
it's so 20th century, you know, and actually you don't have to go to 2022 to find this problem. It happened in December of last year to Microsoft. And they were breached in November. They found out about it on, I think, early January. And then January 12th, they released the 8K telling everybody that Lapsus Group, which is a notorious hacker group, was monitoring the emails of their senior executives discussing the Lapsus Group because they had managed to find a way in. And guess what? Microsoft uses MFA.
yeah.
And I think that is also another fundamental challenge that we see, at least that's what I see in the industry, is we somehow think that MFA is a result. Like if you have MFA, you will not be breached. And that, you know, it's like if you have a car, it will go fast. Well, it depends on what kind of car you have, right? And that change in mentality as to trying to get to the root cause and figuring out, does it solve the root cause? That we still don't see. And therefore, I'm still at it.
It's basically like putting lipstick on a pig.
It will shock you to know I'm sure you guys use push-based MFA, right? You have to take out your phone, unlock it, and then you're logged in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, most people believe that if you have two devices, it is more secure. Actually, when you have two devices, the problem is you don't know that the two devices are next to each other.
Oh.
And that is how a man in the middle, an adversary in the middle attack happens.
Very, very true. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Let's move into the go-to-market side of things, right? So we talked about your failures in terms of like market, right? Okay, this is not the right persona. This is not the right audience. The ICP of consumers doesn't want to buy our product because they don't want to buy anything related to security, and everybody knows that. And God bless, like everyone working in consumer like security.
Well, except me. I had to find it out the hard way.
So, and then you tried B2B to C, and now you're in B2B. What is working and what isn't today?
So what works is when people see it in action. Our conversion rate, so we are a channel first company, right? So we sell through partners.
Okay.
And our conversion rate when we have that first call is ridiculous. It's like 90%.
Is that conversion for your channel partner as in partner acquisition or? Okay, cool. Very competitive.
And when they show it to a customer that has MFA or doesn't have MFA, they're like, why is this so simple? Like it literally boggles their mind. The challenge we have is finding the people that'll make time for us so they can look at it. You know, it's the best example I have is, and I'm a Tesla fan, so I hope I don't offend anybody, but, you know, Tesla makes electric cars, right? And everybody thinks, well, it's got to run out of juice because your phone runs out of juice all the time. It's run out of battery. So that's probably what's going to happen to my car. And that leap, why would you look at an electric car if your first impression is it's going to run out of juice? So that is the problem that you have to confront with. And from a marketing standpoint, I'm sure you guys know this much better than I do. Once you get past that initial hurdle, it's completely different. But that first hurdle is the challenge. And, you know, we tried LinkedIn, we are trying Google Ads, and to be fair, I didn't know anything about marketing 2 years ago. So I was as dumb as a doorknob when it came to marketing. And I had to learn all of these things. And luckily I had some great marketing people that helped me. You met a couple of them. Mm-hmm. And so go-to-market is challenging now because people don't have the attention span they used to have pre-COVID. And I also think what has changed in the go-to-market, I'm curious what you guys think, a lot of partners and customers already research you before they talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like, you know, before you would get in the car, drive for 2 hours, have a customer meeting, and in the first 5 minutes you realize, no way, Jose. Right? But now, with having these meetings on Teams or Zoom or whatever, it's very different. So I think the go-to-market has completely changed pre-COVID and now. At least that's how I feel it.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest challenges on the marketing side is understanding, well, 80% of the customer journey actually happens before they hit any of your social media channels or your website. So sometimes we could tell what they're doing out there, where they're researching us. Most of the time we can't. And there is this rise for these, peer communities, kind of like the Cybersecurity Marketing Society, where conversations are happening between people in those private groups. You don't know who's mentioning you until they just come direct to your website. You don't really know the source of that. So it's all about having the right marketing mix so that you are in front of those people wherever they're doing that 80% of their research, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's at a small community event, whether it's within a peer group, if you have if you have a champion and you ask them to mention you, things like that. And then, of course, LinkedIn, all of them. I think there needs to be enough marketing mix in there. And, for small budgets and big budgets, there's a way to do that in both instances, right? You don't have to have $1 million a month type of marketing budget, but you can, with the right subject matter experts, the right content, enough volume, enough consistency, you start to pop up in that 80% of the journey, so that they can be convinced that you're one of the, solutions that they're going to ask for a demo or contact. Yeah.
Yeah. And it also sounds like, Al, too, like you're almost doing this, talking about timing, right? You're almost doing like a new category, like MFA, right? What we were chatting about this, MFA 2.0, right? Everyone is saying, because what you're saying is everyone's saying that MFA is good enough, good enough, good enough, good enough. And you're saying it's not good enough. And that's going against the grain. So along with the marketing mix of being in front of all of the, like being where people are looking, and like you physically can't be there. So your message has to be there. It's making the message also pique curiosity and pique interest so that people want to hear more. Because like you just said about Tesla, if the assumption is that, it doesn't have enough range, right? And then you get over that hump and you get in the car and you drive around. You're like, this is really awesome. It's like, how do you get over that hump?
Correct.
How have you been getting over that hump? You said demos, like pure, raw, live demos has been working. But like, what else has been working?
So I think the biggest challenge I find in channel is finding partners that really believe in the product. And so one of the things that we, in the beginning, when you start going through channel, anybody that says, I will sign you up, you're like, ooh, high five. Well, that's not the end customer. So, we had lots of celebrations of all these partners signing up, and then 80% of them didn't do anything.
Yeah, channel's hard. It's like 2 steps. Yeah. Maria,
exactly.
I think you are involved in channel marketing too, right?
Yeah. We have all types of different partners. So pure resellers, and then there's the channel. There's all types, and each one of them needs a different strategy. But I think one common denominator is over communication and training. And so the more those partners know your products inside and out, the more they'll be confident to pitch them to their customers. But then also there's this like consistency of communicating regularly, so you also stay top of mind. Because I think we make the mistake to assume that we're our partner's favorite when they have, other 20 solutions that they have to keep in mind, and maybe, 40% of those 20 solutions are head-to-head your competitors. So how do you stand out? Getting involved on their side. If they have events, if they have trainings, if they have sales kickoffs, all of those things, you have to kind of have a mutual, how would I say, participation. So you want them to come and participate in your trainings and get to know your team and your company and your culture, but then vice versa. You have to also represent over there as well.
I think you're absolutely right. The 2 things that have worked for us, one is we pre-qualify the partners. Because everybody says, I won't name names, but we had a partner who said, we do so many thousands, tens of thousands of this competitor's token, like the physical part of it. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, this will be awesome. High five. They have a huge automotive client. We'll replace them. Well, guess what? This partner, their job was logistics. Whenever somebody lost their keys, the hardware keys, the little fob, their job was to replace them. Oh. They had no influence on MFA. So what we learned is we did bad due diligence. We did not pre-qualify.
Yeah.
And so that is an important point, which is pre-qualify. And I'm talking about pre-qualification at our goal is you need to have 3 customers that have at least 1,000 identities each when we start. And if you don't, then that's okay. You can buy us from the Microsoft Marketplace. But we want partners that do this. And then you need to train your pre-sales and sales on this. There has to be some pre-qualification. I think that's point number one. Point number two, which is a dangerous point, but we're doing it because I like to live dangerously. My name is Al Danger Lakhani.
It's not AI.
I love Austin Powers, by the way. That's the reason why I always think of danger. But I guess the second thing is NFR. So these NFR licenses, not for resale licenses, our philosophy now is if we are really that good, then why do you not deploy us? And if they say no, then we say, why not? Tell us what we are missing.
Explain a little bit more, Al. What does the NFR license mean for the uninitiated?
So most vendors will offer not for resale licenses to their partners so that they can demo.
Oh, yeah.
And we think our solution is so rock solid that they should roll it out across the entire partner business.
Their own company.
Yeah, it's like a POV, but it's like a free POV forever as long as there is a partnership, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And so for all client-facing users at our partners, it's free. For everybody that is non-client-facing, so back office, they have to pay, but it's 50% off. And we have a very simple question to them. Please roll it out. And if they don't, we say, why not? Because that is also part of a pre-qualification, right? Why do you not think our product is all that in a bag of chips? And if they don't think it is all that in a bag of chips, then either we have done a bad job of communicating with them or they're the wrong partner.
Right, because they won't sell it if they're not using it themselves and they're not seeing its power, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually had a partner who will again go unnamed, who, we will sell $250K per year on this. They haven't sold a single license. It's been a year. I said 80% of the partners, and they haven't rolled it out internally either. And, it was always like, oh, we have an ISO thing and we have this and we have that. And then finally, after several months, I had a conversation with the CEO, and he said, well, I don't really see the benefit over Microsoft Authenticator. And that is when I first realized, I said, well, I did a bad job of explaining this. Because after all these months, if he says we don't see really a difference, I've done a shitty job. And so we started using NFR as a pre-qualification tool to say, you need to roll this out, and if not, why not? And they might say, we can't do it now, we'll do it in 3 months. That is fine. It's not like they need to roll it out tomorrow, but they need to roll it out. Because everybody wants to prevent credential phishing, password-based attacks, adversary in the middle attacks, MFA bypass. Everybody does. Every business does. So there has to be a really good reason why they say no.
Makes a lot of sense.
I guess maybe one other thing I would add, that is also great feedback for the product.
Yes. There you go. Our partner, which sells our product and uses our product, has all this feedback. I love that. I love that a lot.
And for scaling, channel first makes a lot of sense, right? You can scale much faster. And that's the reason why we went down this path.
Yeah. Longer setup, faster scale, I think,
Well, as I told you, we had a very, very long setup, 6 years.
I guess long is relative. So, Al, we are going to play our game. Surprise. There's a game.
Games.
Yes. And I wish you were in your lederhosen because that would have made this game more fun, I think.
Well, I am in my lederhosen. You just don't see it.
What is it? Does lederhosen mean something?
Yeah, it means shorts or pants made out of leather. Leder is leather. Hosen is pants or shorts.
Amazing. And for anyone who's confused about why that came up, that's how me and Al met. We met at InfoSec Europe when he was at his booth wearing lederhosen, wearing like official German traditional outfits.
Well, as you can tell, I am very German.
So, Maria, will you explain our game?
Yes, definitely. So, Al, for every guest on the show, Gianna and I take turns at guessing what you would be doing if you currently were not working in cybersecurity or as a founder of a cybersecurity company or marketing or whatever. The rules are we can't pick a previous career or job.
Okay.
And sometimes we're so on point, it's creepy, and sometimes we're so far off, it's sad, and sometimes somewhere in the middle. So we'll both take a guess, and then you tell us which one was closest, I guess, or if we both lost, and then you tell us exactly what you would rather be doing today if it isn't what you're currently doing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I guess awesome. This is good. If ID fails, I know what I can do next.
Yes.
There you go. All right.
Maria and Gianna told me I could do this. Okay, I'm very curious.
There you go. We manifest it into the world. How about I go first, Gianna? You've been going first lately. Let's see.
Go ahead.
So Al, I don't know.
No, don't start with I don't know.
Founder, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't.
You will.
I'm trying to get the vibe.
Be this.
I guess as a founder and a business owner, you not only have to have patience but courage. That tells me you could probably do really well in education.
I love that you did. You have to be brave so you can be in education.
Well, yeah.
Have you seen these Gen Xers? I mean, Gen Zers or whatever they're called. Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. So yeah, I think you would be an educator, and I think to the young folk, because those need a little extra patience and courage. That's my guess, Gianna.
So can you define young folk and educator? Because I'm very curious now.
Oh crap, Maria, you're onto something.
So teacher, and then I would say high school and below. So high school, middle school, elementary school.
Okay, cool.
Okay, my guess. So Al, you have a flair for the theatrical, I believe, and you can command a room. I think you would be the person who gives out the awards at major acting award shows. So like the Oscars, you'd be the MC. You'd be on stage, cracking jokes, talking with celebrities, shaking hands, and handing out little gold statues while everyone claps.
Getting slapped in the face. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. I didn't say that. But maybe that would happen. I don't know. I'm not going to manifest it, though. So.
Well, it depends on how rude I am to the audience. So you guys are really good. Both of you have touched on parts of my life that I really enjoy doing. But there is one thing that I think you didn't mean to say it, but inadvertently said it, which is, I forget who, Maria, you or Gianna, you said get slapped.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So my WhatsApp title or name or whatever you call it for the longest time was Polka Bear, because I like to kind of mischievously poke people, but right at the edge, like not making them pissed off at me, but like really teasing them. I mean, obviously I do it to my friends. I don't do it to strangers, but I have this mischievous side to me where I kind of poke people. Mm-hmm. So I can completely see that. And I have been an MC several times. So I can completely see, somebody can completely slap me because I overdid it and didn't realize that
I didn't put slap in there. I didn't put slap in there.
So then I get half the credit. I get half the credit.
You get okay. If Al is leaning towards what I think he's leaning towards, which is Gianna, you win. You can get 0.25, Maria, of this.
And I help out as many people as I can because a lot of people have helped me throughout my career, and I like to pay it forward. So I wouldn't say I would be an educator in that sense, because I don't think I have the patience, but I would say I like to help people out, help them achieve their dreams or figure out what their dream is. So maybe I would be more of a counselor rather, because I think it's the same, kind of same genre of helping others. So
Yeah.
So you guys are both of you are really good.
I like that.
Cool. Who wins?
Thank you. Oof. Tough one.
Given my personality, I would probably go more towards the Poke Bear MC.
Yay! Yes! Win for Gianna. We tally these up at the end of the year, and then there's a winner, and then nothing happens. It's good.
Wait a minute. Nobody gets a golden Oscar statue?
I think we were going... Well, maybe we should do that. Actually, we should do that Cyber Marketing Con this year, Maria, as part of the Marquee Awards.
Yeah, we could make it official.
We can make it an award called Best Host of the Breaking Through in Cybersecurity Marketing Society Award.
Hostess with
and
the
I
most.
would be delighted to present it to one of the two of you, since you guys already said I'm such an MC.
We'll see you there then.
If you're there, we'll literally let you do that. So I hope you can come, Al.
In Lederhosen, naturally.
Absolutely. We had Dr. Chase Cunningham in a pink wrestling outfit at last year's conference. So
wow.
Yeah. So Al, how can people find you if they're interested in hearing more about IDEE?
It's simple. I'm not on social media, but I am on X, but I'm mainly on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So if you search for Offend by IDEE, which is what you see on the screen right now, Al at Offend by IDEE, you will find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And we'll, of course, put a link to Authn, AUTHN by IDEE in the show notes. Thank you, Al, for being on the show today.
I really enjoyed talking to both of you, and it was fun. Like, it was, I was a little bit nervous, to tell you the truth. I was like, I don't know how this is going to work, but you guys are very chill and relaxed, and it was fun. So thank you for asking me to be here, and thanks for making it easy.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all the advice, and all the advice to all the up and coming new founders and business owners. I hope this is useful to them. Let us know, give us feedback, and let's poke the bear and let them know what we think of this advice. So thank you so much for our listeners. Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe. A new episode does drop every Wednesday, so you'll get the alert. And give us as many stars as you can, and tell your friends in cybersecurity, marketing, sales, all kinds of revenue teams about this show. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Ciao, guys.